Welcome back to the MT Valencia Trading YouTube channel, and I'll be giving the November update to the portfolio. And the current value we have here is $26,359 ending November 30th. And let's see, we started November at, let me pull that up, $25,831. So if you look right here, we have November, $25,831. And this is the account value each day. And I can go into this spreadsheet here a little more in a minute, but just to let you know. So, and we have about $1,006 in deposits we made this month. We made a deposit on November 10th for 503 and November 25th for 503. So it's $106. And I believe if you do the math, it was about 2% decline this month is what the overall portfolio did on a time-weighted average basis. So it was like 2.14% drop. And let's take a look at the trades we did here. So on November 3rd, we did PayPal. We had a couple buys in PayPal. We had, in the morning, we did 5 shares at 76. And then later in the evening, we did 2 more shares after hours. So PayPal released after the bell. And you see we bought at 67.50 and 67. So let's go to the chart and pull up PayPal real fast. And you can see together those 7 shares averaged 73.54. Now, if you notice, so this was after the bell, I was able to buy some at 67 and 67.50, I believe it was. Yeah. So if you go here and you look at the after hours, we did pretty good at getting a low. Show extended hours. So yeah, PayPal, they actually came out with decent earnings. They beat previous quarter. So $1.08 a share, and the 2 shares we got at 67.25. So we pretty much got the bottom. Looking back, you wish you would have bought more shares, but we did have to go into margin a little bit to buy these shares. I think total after our purchases this month, like the second week in November, we had like $1,500 in margin. And try not to use too much margin. So now next few deposits is just going to buy back that margin. But you can see earlier in the day, bought the 5 shares here, and then after the bell, they released earnings, and we was able to get a couple more shares at the bottom. I had another order out there at, let's see, I think it was 66, but it never got, no, it wasn't 66. Yeah, it was 66. They came 11 cents away from getting filled, but that didn't get filled. So that was one of the purchases we made this month. Now let's take a look at a couple of others. So let's look at PayPal. So we have that right there. So now let's go back and we bought some more Global. We added 8 more shares of Global at $99 and $96. That was also on the 3rd. Then on November 14th, we bought Weight Watchers. We were added to the position on Weight Watchers. We got it 401. Then the next day, we bought another 100 shares of Too Simple, TSP, at 278. That was adding to a position. Then I opened up this Carvana call, a 17.5 call. Did one contract for $1, which is $100. Really not going to be doing hardly any options in this portfolio, but this Carvana kind of presented kind of like a unique opportunity. We'll look at that. But let's take a look at some of the others. So Global, we'll go through each of the ads. So we looked at PayPal. Now we'll look at Global. And you can see here those 8 shares altogether was at an average price of $97.13. And we have a channel here, and price hit the lower part of that channel. So I was trying to buy as it came into the channel. And if you notice, we have to go back a little further than 3 years. But Global is at really good support. 2018 here, December, we have a nice little pivot. We got a nice little poke through here on this handle. And so I'm pretty confident that it can hold. And if it doesn't hold, then the next downside target is $50. I'll have to open up the chart about 10 years to go see that. But I'm confident in this channel. Global Payment, we've been doing some acquisitions recently, and it's a very strong company, investment grade debt. I don't see the company going anywhere anytime soon. So we have a lot of support in here, and we'll see with the market turning, this should bid up pretty quick. Oh, well, it should bid up, and this most likely you're going to be looking at a low. And first stop will be the moving averages in the upper part of the channel, but I'm confident in this channel holding. So we pretty much hit there right at it. So that was one of the ads. Then the other ad was in Weight Watchers. So we'll pull that up. You can see 100 shares here at 401. And this was adding to the position. Then after that, we had TuSimple. And we added another 100 shares here. And then the last is Carvana. So if you look at the Carvana stock, it is really taking a beating. It's been a bloodbath. Oh, and one thing that Carvana has in common, I'll mention as well as Weight Watchers, is there's insider trading going on there. So if you look at, let's pull this up. If you look at FinViz, you go to insider trading. Let's see. Actually, might be better to find it. Just pulling up the stock. So with Weight Watchers, something to kind of keep an eye on. So we got November 10th, November 10th, 17th, 18th. We have multiple directors and the CEO buying in. And they're buying in pretty good volume, relatively speaking. I mean, they added, it's 100% of their shares. And this director here added 30,000 shares. So they were at 70. So this is almost 50% more shares. And same here, and 30% more. And this was doubling their shares. So we have insider participation here. So if there's any worry that the company is going to go bankrupt, usually insiders buying is not going to be an indication that that is right around the corner. So not only do you have that with Weight Watchers, you also have some insider buying with Carvana here. So you can see November 7th, 7th, 11th, 14th, 21. And it's the same thing. It's a large number of shares purchased to what they previously had. See, here they doubled their number of shares, doubled their number of shares, doubled their number of shares. So I don't feel, even though Carvana, the stock is heavily distressed, I don't see worries for it going away anytime soon. Because if that was the case, these insiders wouldn't be buying. So I'm confident that if they're willing to put their money into the company, then it should be okay for retail as well. Anyways, I didn't want to take, because I'm already on margin, I didn't want to use up any more cash than I had to. So what I just ended up doing is buying a 17.5 call March of 2023. Got the 17.5 call, and it was trading at $1 at that point. And if you look at the risk profile on that, go up to $30, just under $30, there's $1,000 at expiration. And if it gets to 40, that's $2,000. And if you look at the chart where that's at, so we got $30 here. If it gets back to this point, if it gets back to this point, that's $1,000. If it gets back to 40, that's $2,000. So, and there is a pivot right here and a pivot here. and you got the 200 period. So 40 is very possible. I want to see how it gets through the 50 period moving average, how quickly it can do that. Does it sit there and consolidate, or is it able to bust through it fairly quickly? I mean, it's March, so it's about 4 months left. So depending on how it reacts with these moving averages, depends on whether I hold till 30 or 40. So we'll have to wait and see there. And so let's see what else. So those were all the buys. And just to mention, if you want to get these buys as they happen, if you're looking to replicate the portfolio, just follow along or copy, you can visit my Patreon page, and I'll put a link to that in the description. And that is $10 a month. And anyone who is a member there will get up-to-date um, updates of any activity in the portfolio. So they'll be the first to know as it happens, essentially. That way, if you're wanting to participate, you can follow along there, and you won't have to wait till the end of the month to get any updates. So that's where we stand. We're at 26,359. And so we have, see, a few positions with positive P&L, and then global, the large position, down about 18%. For 2022, I think the portfolio overall with all the deposits is down, time weighted average down 24%. If we look at, see, if we look at the portfolio compared to the SPYs, if I were to hypothetically have invested the money just in the SPY, this is a chart of how the SPYs did compared to the blue line, the portfolio. And it was pretty much tracking right along with it. And you'll see this drop right here. And essentially what that is when Global released earnings. So let's pull up Global. See right here, it took a nasty hit right here, and this was on 28th. And this was, let's see, from 25 down to 93. That's $30 at 165 shares. That's about $4,000 drop there. So that's where this divergence happens right here after global earnings. But I'm not too concerned with global. I believe it's going to bounce back and be really strong. Once this market turns around and we start seeing some legs to the upside, I think global will do just fine. And I think not only will we catch what we would have had if we just would have invested in the SPYs, I think we're going to surpass it healthily. So looking forward to just this market turning around and global starting to participate in that. And so we see this here. Go back to the charts. But this is pretty much all the updates, talked about the deposits and all the positions we've added. So we're at $26,000 right now. And I'll be keeping up to date with this as the $25,000 account challenge. So we're looking to double this account and make it a $50,000 account. It's part of the challenge. So we're essentially sitting right there. Yesterday we were at $25,000, $1,100. Today brought us up above 26, or got us to 26.3. So yesterday, the day before the end of the month, we were at 25.2. So we'll get there. This count will double with time. Very confident in that. And anyone starting at this point, and you start, if one was to replicate these positions with these shares, you would have $26,000. So I have some digging out of the hole to do, but those who are starting now have the benefit of not having to dig out of that hole. So gonna double the account, go from 26, or yeah, at this point 26 to $50,000, part of the portfolio challenge, and keep up to date with what's going on. And if you look for videos each month here on YouTube, and if you want to get active up to dates as they happen, visit the Patreon channel, $10 a month, and you'll find out whenever whenever the activity is made in the account, you'll find out as it happens. So look forward to seeing you guys there and see you next month.